Thought our guys really won this game by the way that they came out of the locker room at halftime. It's been a big point of emphasis from us. They really defended with the level of just presence, being in the moment of what we needed to do on that possession. The first half, certainly a lot of things didn't go our way offensively. We had some guys that were visibly, just kind of upset or not quite in the greatest place. But they did a great job turning the page. And that sparked us. I mean, that gave us a chance to go on a big run, grab a lead. And obviously we needed the lead with the way that the game ended. Andrew was a big spark offensively all game. And then Greg, this is by far the best that he's played. Excited about just the great progress that he's making.
Mark, get us started.
Yeah, Shaka, even given Greg's tremendous talent, are you surprised at how quickly or suddenly he's come on offensively, as far as his patience and things like that?
Oh, he's learning. I mean, he's doing what we were asking him to do, which is take each valuable opportunity, whether it's practice or games, and learn from them. He did a really good job a couple times today of not forcing the issue when there wasn't something there. And, he definitely still has a lot of room for growth. That's the exciting thing. But I'm just really proud of the improvements that he's making with his footwork, his balance. And then, man, he went and grabbed the ball. I mean, the way he rebounded the ball today was huge, big difference maker for us.
Thank you.
Dustin, go ahead.
Shaka, what changed for you guys offensively in the second half? Was it just as simply as, guys were running the offense better with more aggressiveness and kind of working the ball around more? It just seemed like when Oklahoma State was throwing that zone at them in the first half, they kind of got a little frustrated with what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, we knew they were going to play a lot of zone. And it was like clockwork, man. When they went into that zone, we got on our heels a little bit. Our guards were nowhere near as aggressive as we wanted them to be. So at the half, Dustin, we told our guys, like, we can diagram stuff for you guys to run, but at the end of the day, we got to be assertive. They're getting on the side of you, get in the paint. And I thought they did a nice job of that. Matt, was living in the paint in the second half, which was huge. For him and Courtney, it wasn't their best scoring game. They struggled from the floor. But I thought, those guys hung in there, stayed together. Andrew made some big plays. We're going to need, in games like this where some guys are struggling offensively, we're going to need Andrew to step forward like he did today.
Yeah, speaking of Courtney, I mean, he didn't have the offensive game he wanted to, but it seemed like defensively he did about as good of a job as you could on Cade in those one-on-one situations.
Yeah, I thought all of our guys did. I mean, I thought other than a few possessions where, we fouled unnecessarily, I thought our guys did a nice job on Cade, but at the same time, I mean, he scored 25 points and he's a really good player. There's a reason that everybody's got him as the number one pick next year. And when you have a guy like that, I mean, I think it gives you a chance to be in pretty much every game. And then they have some other guys on their team that have really improved and stepped forward. They're going to have a heck of a year. But I thought the way that our guys defended, especially early in the half and, when we really had to get stops, they were huge.
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Coach, I know you kind of touched on this, but I think everybody was looking at Cade versus Greg tonight, but it was really, Matt and Courtney defending him, and you have Matt out there for all 40 minutes. So why wasn't he able to get any bench time today, I guess? And with that 40 minutes, number one guy, how do you grade that effort?
I mean, I once heard Wimp Sanderson say he wasn't big on resting his best players. He said they can rest on the off day. So that was probably the philosophy there with Matt. We needed him in the game. In terms of, the matchups, Cade Cunningham's a point guard. He's got the ball in his hands, but he's just big and physical. So they have an interesting, personnel situation in that he's playing a point, he's handling the ball, He's out there in pick and roll. He's out there playing one-on-one on the perimeter, but he also posts a lot. And then they put a lot of guards around him. So I thought Greg did a nice job on a few possessions where he got switched on to him, and he did guard him. And then Courtney, as you mentioned, and Matt, their size, they certainly give up some size there against Cade, but they fought and battled the best they could.
Brian Davis.
Shaka, it was obvious that Greg wanted to dial it up today because of Cade. Did you see that in either shoot around or the days leading up to today that he really wanted to go to another level?
Well, he did a pretty good job of kind of masking it, Brian. But I knew, they played AAU together. And, let's be honest, Cade was the number one player in the class. He's projected to be the number one pick in the draft. Greg's a guy that is a heck of a player in his own right. And, he wants, to be thought of in a certain way as well. So, the message to him over the last few days has been, at the end of the day, it's not about numbers. It's about, can you make your team win? And that's whether you're playing against, this opponent or this individual player or whoever it may be. They both had terrific numbers today. But I thought Greg made a lot of winning plays.
And let me ask you kind of a big picture question. 7-1 going into the Christmas break here. When the calendar flips to 21, y'all are going to be conference games mostly from there on out. Do you want this fan base to understand, hey, this team is different? Come and see it. Come to the Irwin Center and see it for yourself.
Yeah, it's such a unique year, Brian, that's obviously an individual choice that somebody makes and for their family that they make. But it's an exciting team to watch. It's a team that can be really, really good. We've got a lot of room for growth. We've got some exciting individual players on our team that are fun to watch. So yeah, we'd love to have as many people as we can safely get in here. But again, it's a unique time, and honestly, our focus is on what we can control, which is our own growth and progress. I've talked to some fans that have said, hey, I really want to come, but all the COVID stuff, and I completely get it. It's just a personal choice, but I know this, the people that do come and support us, we appreciate them. And at the end of the day, we're very grateful for representing our fans and our university.
Cool.
We've got 3 last ones in the queue. We'll start with Nick.
Yeah, Shaka, just like you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the guys coming out of the locker room just looked really determined and really focused to kind of put that first half behind them. And that's, what they did. Y'all go on, I think, a 9-0 run, and then it was like a 17-0 run. Just what does that tell you, I guess, about, the leadership you have on this team, where they are mentally, and what kind of confidence the guys have in each other?
Well, I'll tell you what, Nick, it's really something that we are going to use as a learning lesson for our players, and something that, they have in their pocket now. They've played a really, really tough first half like we did today. They've gone in the locker room, they've gotten together. The way that we do our halftime is the players have about 3 to 5 minutes on their own together in the locker room where they can talk. And then as a coaching staff, we come in and make any adjustments or any points of emphasis. So it's really that player time that's the most important time. And you could see by the looks on their face that they had conversation about the way that we needed to start the half and the way we need to play in the second half. So we're going to need to do that again for sure. In this league, there's going to be, times, whether it's at home or on the road, where we have to respond, we have to be better, or even if we play well in the first half, we've got to come out of halftime and really focus on the defensive end.
One of the last 2, we'll go Nathan, then Jeff.
Hey, Shaka. You talked a little about Greg's rebounding. It's been a couple games now that he's led the team in rebounding. Was this something you worked on, point of emphasis, or did he just come out of the gate and just was a great rebounder from their first practice?
I mean, it's mostly recruiting. It's it's mostly talent. You know, we really have only had one other guy that goes to get the ball the way that he does, where he just kind of keeps going up and up and up and up and grabs it. And that was Mo. What they have in common is just kind of like those extendo arms. They just keep going, and they seem to go, you know, a foot higher than everybody else. And we needed that. And then he had 5 offensive rebounds, which was big. That's really the area where we've been on him about, you know, just giving great effort, going to the glass, not settling for the block out, defeating the block out, and keeping the play alive.
Jeff, go ahead.
Shaka, I know in a perfect world, you'd like all 3 of your veteran guards to fill up the box score on the same night. But what is your comfort level right now, knowing that, because it's been kind of the case all year, you know, like tonight, Courtney's line wasn't great, but you get the production offensively from Andrew and Matt. Do you feel like you know that on every night you're going to get it from at least 2 of those 3 guys?
Well, you know, Jeff, I'll put it kind of a different way. If we don't get it from 2 out of the 3, that's when, you know, it's probably going to be a tough day. And they don't have to necessarily play perfect or great. We need 2 out of the 3 to play very good. And if we can get all 3 playing very good together, that's when we'll really be clicking on all cylinders. I also want to mention, you know, Donovan Williams came in the game and, you know, kind of going by position. He was our 4th guard coming in, and I thought he gave us a real lift today. We've been, you know, hard on him about continuing to get more disciplined with things under his control, playing defense in a stance. And I thought he did a terrific job. He did not turn the ball over in 13 minutes. He had 5 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds. And I thought he really, really helped us today.
And then one other question, Shaka, just Andrew talked about it. He feels like guys are actually taking pride in playing defense. They realize that that's the one thing that can travel even when shots aren't falling. Not to compare to other teams you have, but do you feel like this group right now is really bought in on no matter what happens offensively, they can play good defense and play with consistent effort at that end?
I mean, I think we've had a pretty good defensive buy-in on the majority of our teams, but I think this team has the potential to be the best defensive team of the teams we've had. And we also have a ton of room for growth, and we can play different ways. So, you know, it comes down to having a willingness to fly around, get your hands on a basketball. We did not do enough of that in the first half. And, you know, just it affected both ends of the floor. So absolutely, I think our guys' buy-in has been good, but we certainly can take another notch, another step or 2 with that. And we're going to need to, obviously, going into the conference games we have coming up.